G'day and welcome back to the Shed of Basketball Truth. It is Studio 3 for Ball Don't Lie Australia. And it is still NBL1 North Finals week. We've done the women's pod. Now it's time for the men's. We've got a big show. We've got Coach Greg Vanderjagt, Vandy, joining us shortly. Then after that, Mackay head coach Joel Kahlu. We'll do a quick breakdown of the game. I'll share my thoughts. And then we've got Anthony Kopcikas, captain of the Capitals, the Crackem King, coming on for a short and sharp 1-0 local catch up at Woolloongabba Crackem. Couldn't not have him on here on grand final week. But all right, let's get straight into it. Coach Vandy, Greg Vanderjagt is up first. All right, he is here, ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the Brisbane Capitals, the assistant coach of the Brisbane Bullets, and the only coach in all of NBL1 North to have once upon a time rejected me 3 courts over from a hook shot I should not have put up anywhere near this guy. But still, hey, I took a chance. Of course, Coach Vandy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mel. Good to be on for a yarn in a really, really important week. Can't believe it's already grand final time. NBL1 North again. So excited.
Indeed. Obviously, normally we start with, where your basketball journey started, but of course, Kempsey boy, and then, moved to Taree just to beat Grafton from a different location is the way I remember it. But, obviously for different reasons. Mate, real turnaround from the start of the season. Obviously with those 2 L's against Wizards and Mackay very early on.
Yeah, it has been. And it's something we spoke about as a group sporadically throughout the year in terms of, our journey and going through the course of this season with, I think, 8 new players on the roster, a new coach, pretty much an entirely new coaching staff. So there was always going to be some teething problems and, some adjustments to the way that we wanted to do things, new set of expectations and standards from where the program had come from in terms of the professionalism and, how we practice and how we scout and, expectation for players, but not only coaches as well. So, it was always going to take some time and we didn't expect it to be perfect right from the get-go. But, we were 1-4. We just lost to Seahawks on a Saturday night down there. In the dark depths of Runaway Bay. And, those guys played really well that night. We came into Carina on a Sunday against a Spartans team that was, really searching as well. Like they were in a kind of in the same situation as we were with a talented roster, high player turnover. And, we stood in that locker room, we looked each other in the eye and, it's just as a group of men and, we spoke about who we wanted to be and how we wanted to go about our business. And from that, I think it sparked a 7-game win streak. Actually looked today, and since that date, Mackay and us have an identical record. So since that Spartans game, we're both 12-2 over the last 14 games. So I think now we've got to the point where we've got the best 2 teams in the league playing against each other at the pointy end of the season. If you look at that sample size of wins and losses, we had a couple of bumps in our road against Logan and Southern Districts along the way. And, Cairns got Mackay and also Darwin got Mackay. So, for us to go from 1-4 to now be playing a grand final series, it's been about the process. We've stuck to what we want to be, particularly defensively, and we've lent into that all year on the back of Sam McDaniel, Izzy Tueta, Matty Johns, like Cam Thew, Timmy. Like we've got a good defensive group individually, and now pairing that with some high IQ team defense, how we've started to carve out who we wanted to be. The offense was a continual evolution, and it still is, and we're clunky at times, but we've found something we can lean into, which is the most pleasing part, and the most pleasing part is the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, and it's been truly great to watch and commentate throughout the year. But I can't have you on and not talk about Smack. Obviously, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and all that. But does he make your life easier in those late game, short clock situations? He just seems to have just a presence in those times.
Yeah, he's playing great basketball. Like, there's no two ways about it. The MVP of the league, Defensive Player of the Year, all NBL1 North first team. The guy's put together one of the all-time great NBL1 North seasons. Go back to QBL. Not too many people have put this type of season together in terms of a two-way player that plays the both sides of the ball, and it does. It gives me confidence as a coach that when things get hard and the poo's hitting the proverbial, that you've got a guy that you can lean into. But what we spoke and the group spoke about it on Monday night at practice on the back of Darwin, is that part of our evolution have been is the ball doesn't stick. And early in the year, the ball stuck and was on the deck a little bit too much. And I think the most the greatest thing with Smack is that he's completely bought into what this group wants to be about, and he trusts his teammates. Teams will load up on him, or load up on Gabe, or load up on Izzy, but those guys all have a unconditional trust in their teammates right now to throw the ball out, or make the extra pass, or make the right play that results in us having success. So I think as good as Smack is, and he's carried a heavy load at times, he's also found a level of trust with his teammates that allows us to have success. So, he near triple-double against Townsville, I think it was, 36, 12 and 9. He nearly has a triple-double last week, 18, 12 and 7, or, consistently throughout the year. The movement of the ball has been our strength offensively. And then defensively, when there's a problem, and keep reminding the assistant coaches as well, if there's a problem, we try and solve it with Smack first, and then if he can't solve it, then schematically we do something different. So it gives you a lot of comfort as a coach that you've got a guy like that can, both sides of the ball, he can solve a lot of problems for you, but also that guy being such a selfless individual and making everyone around him better, and being a leader with his actions and his voice. And it's been a huge growth off season for Smack as well. And I know he's used this as a springboard to have an incredible NBL season, which I have no doubt he's going to.
Yeah, and you basically steered straight into my next question, which was about how the team has then worked when he's gotten that extra. And it's not just one guy. It's been great to see the Cap season evolve. Speaking of evolution, since we've got you here, and great friend of the show, and young Mr. Timmy Sung. Now, we've heard a few rumors and whispers, and some of them might have been started by us, once upon a time, but Tim Sung as being a future NBL star. Now, I'm not going to put you on the spot or anything, but you're tapping Schuler on the shoulder and just saying, we've got this kid. He's I've had a great season with him. You're putting him forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got hey, maybe not our roster's full for this year, as you know, but hey, there's a platform here. Use it as a springboard for next season. Timmy's been great. Timmy is speak on Timmy, because he's become a really integral piece in this team, and he has been an integral piece of this Caps team for a while now. I think Timmy and I had a discussion probably 3 or 4 games into the year, and his minutes dipped from last year. He was still trying to find his way, and we just spoke about the things that he needed to do and what the role looked like. We spoke about it throughout preseason and just reaffirmed that. And what Timmy's done a great job of. He's gone and made things happen on the floor. At times early in the season, he was just out there and coasting. And Tim and I have spoken about this, so I've got no qualms in speaking openly about it. But now, the back end of the season, he goes and makes things happen. He goes and makes plays. He goes and guards the best player on the other team for, a dozen possessions at a time. You look at the second half against Gold Coast when he guarded Jace Kadee. He wore Jason the full court. He made life difficult for him. Like, Jace is one of the best players in this league and has been for a large number of years now, but Timmy's gone and taken that challenge. Like, he's a connector offensively for us, willing ball mover, super high IQ, and everybody in the team loves him. Like, that's the other part of it is, I can't find a better human being than Timmy Sung. Ant Kasipkas is right there, but, he comes with his warts as well. So.
All right. Timmy Sunglove. See, don't tell. I'm not going to hear any of this, oh, why aren't you talking about Timmy? Oh, we're pushing him here. And, of course, he does, as you say, he has those moments where he transforms, puts on the cape and turns into him Sung. And
I've heard that term used a little bit lately on the road. So, yeah, no, we need him Sung this weekend for 2 games.
Oh, for sure. Now, obviously looking ahead, you've just come off a training session with the boys. How's the vibe? How's the vibe around the team? Obviously, not looking to, give away any secrets, but everyone calm, collected, knowing what the job ahead is.
Yeah, again, had a really good practice tonight. I like where we're at. Final preparation going into Mackay. Boys were locked into the things they need to be locked into in the scout detail. We had a good film session before practice. We get on the floor and we compete. We got this opportunity to practice tonight with a rest and travel day tomorrow to Mackay on the back of a potential 3-game series. So having the ability to compete tonight and get after it and have our normal rhythm of preparation with a compete night into a rest or shooting day into a weekend is perfect. So I feel like our preparation's been really good on the back of a really long weekend in Darwin. We didn't land until 7 p.m. Sunday night. Long travel day, back up for practice Monday, and start our prep for Mackay. So the boys have been great in terms of taking on a lot of information in a short space of time on the back of Darwin into Mackay, who's a team who presents a whole different set of challenges. So, I like our preparation. It's been consistent throughout this playoff journey. And, I feel really good about where we're at. We'll have a shootout around Mackay on Friday morning and, hey, it's go time. Now's the time is, the work you've done over the last, we've had 50 practice sessions. Tonight was number 50. And, the work we've done through those 50 practice sessions and the previous 19 games is putting us in a position to be where we're at right now.
Well, speaking of Mackay, and obviously, everyone's run their eye over the team, and they've been right up there, as that from right at the very start of the season. They've been in that number 1 spot, and they haven't relinquished it. What are their strengths as you see it?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, credit to Joel and the work that he's done up there. Behind me, right there, 2012. It's a good place to win championships. I got one there in 2012, got one there in 2017 with Townsville. It's a fun place to go and win a championship. So credit to Joel and the work that he's done in building that program to what it is. There's probably not a better NBL1 program in the country, to be honest. The way, the professionalism and how they go about their business and the way they do things, the way they present their game night, their recruitment, the way that they prepare. We're going to play a hell of a basketball team. There's no doubt about that. And they finished the regular season 15-2 for a reason. They're really good. That's where it starts. And they kicked our butts up there in round 2. So they're a team, high-paced team, couple of very potent shooters in Blanche and Whitey, really good point guard Emmett Nah, and then they've got the role players like Krause. Aiden Krause has had a really, really good year over his last 5 games, and Jamison's been and Malua been in and out. Krause stepped into that role, and defensively he's a menace at the rim. He's a menace. Physical, and he's I feel like he's a bit of a barometer, him and Whitey and Blanche, of their energy. So he's a really important piece for them. Luca Yates, I think, has had a really good season on the back of a development year with Illawarra. Townsville boy, so I've been around him for a long time, know who he is, and really pleased to see, the work that he's put in over the offseason and the work that Joel and the staff up there have done with him. So, they're a deep and talented team, like Manny Malou, Jerron Jamison, then the local boys off the bench, like Kai Medhurst, who was a junior up there, I remember Kai as an under 12 kid when I was up there in like playing and in the development roles. So really pleasing to see those guys come through the pathway. CJ Moran's another one. So, you talk about their roster, it's balanced. They've got weapons all over the floor, and we're going to have to be really locked into the detail and the individual scout detail that we want to get done in order to nullify these guys' strengths. So, look, without giving too much away, like we've got our plan in place and we feel good about it. But at the same time, we've got a huge amount of respect for this team, as we do for everyone in this league. And they're not the regular season, the minor premiers for no reason. Like we're going into play a team that's well drilled, well organized, and a team that we have a lot of respect for. So we've got to put our best foot forward over the 2 wins and in order to get this thing done.
All right. Now, obviously, you and Joel Kahlu have goes back to your playing days. Any cheeky side bets?
You call that play? Okay.
Oh.
No, look, I mean, Joel and I do go back a long way. Like, and I spent some of the best years of my life in Mackay. I've got a lot of appreciation for the community up there and Mackay basketball and the program and the people there. Like, and Joel's paramount to that. He was the GM when I went there, and he works his backside off, every day of the week for that club. And I know he's got a lot of love for the program there as well, and it's always close to his heart. So, look, I mean, Joel and I have spoken way too much this week in a grand final week. We've got a good relationship, and I'm really happy for him that he's coaching in another championship series, because I know how much it means to him. I think he's probably got more titles than anyone in Queensland. I don't know how many rings he's up to now, but when we were playing together and he was an assistant coach, I think he had 6 at that point in time. So he's got one for every finger. He's like the freaking Bill Russell of the NBL1 North. He's not as old as Bill, so bless his soul. But got a lot of respect for Joel and excited for him. Not only the championship series, but getting his NBL coaching opportunity as well with the Hawkeys down there. It's something that he's earned over a long period of time, and the work that he's done and consistent winning helps. So, credit to him, and looking forward to the battle on the bench as well this weekend.
All right. Very quick shout out before we get into who's that teammate / team member. Did you have anybody you wanted to just give a quick shout out to? Maybe some players down the bench, or people just around the huddle, perhaps, that have really helped the team over the journey.
Yeah, no, first and foremost, like to the entire CAPS organisation, to Hamish and Peter and the entire board, like thank you for your support. Anything that I've asked for, as much as it may be, lofty at times, that we want certain things, like they've always found a way to get things done for us, and it just makes the program that little bit better. It's not, ridiculous money or anything like that. It's just little value adds and little support mechanisms around the program that's helped us get to where we are. So to the entire CAPS organisation and Hamish to support us the way they have, fantastic. Bruce Palmer's been a cornerstone as the GM, and having some difficult conversations with me and for me over the course of it has been great, and really appreciate his support. From like sitting back, like he as a bit of a mentor has been fantastic. To Durrani and Tyler, like their work doesn't go unnoticed. Like I know Durrani hasn't slept this week with all the logistics that need to get done. Tyler will do his thing and just go quietly about it. But those 2 people are, integral to this program, and things can't get done without them. And they've made a lot of sacrifices to help us get to where we are, and a lot of that does go unrecognised, but it's certainly not underappreciated by this team. We've got some guys who won't travel with us this weekend, unfortunately. So we'll travel with a party of 10 players. But Jack Terrell, Nick Sarin, and Joshy Reeves have been a part of the team from day dot. And, they've been in the trenches and listened to me yell at them, and been through the ups and downs of the season all the way with us. But I said it to those guys tonight at practice, like, we're going to win this thing, and we're coming back, and we've got more work to do. So be ready to go on, Thursday night next week when we get back to work to try and go win a national title as well. So, those guys, they put in a lot of work and they don't often get the reward of court time or going to play in a championship series, but the work they've done in practice has been huge for us. Like without those guys, some nights we wouldn't have been able to practice. So, those three guys have been enormous. And below that, there's a whole lot of people who make this program go. But also to our QSL and youth league coaches like Craig Scroggy, Billy Ellis, and the rest of the senior caps men's program. We built something that's connected, which is, I think I was on the pod earlier in the year and you asked me what does success look like, and that was one of the things that I wanted a connected program from top to bottom. The QSL men, they lose in a semi-final in a really tough battle with Moreton Bay. Like the youth league boys go all the way to the grand final. Like from top to bottom, we've had integration throughout the year. We were a similar style of play in terms of our terminology and our teaching and our offensive system, how we want to defend. Like those guys have allowed me to lead the program and have bought into it, which is enormous. So thank you for your support, gents, and looking forward. Like we've just scratched the surface of what we can do with the CAP senior program. So looking forward to building this thing in the future.
Well, it's been a very exciting season, and of course, thank you to all those people who've helped. Now it's time. Who's that teammate / team member? No pressure. No, there's no pressure in these things. Not for me anyway. So that's why I like them. All right. So I'll give 3 clues. First one's a bit on the hard side. They get easier as you go, but there's only clues and you get 1 guess per clue. Are you ready?
Let's do it. All right. Let's see. I've spent way too much time with these guys, so I'm backing myself in.
Oh, as you should. As you should. All right. Clue. Now, some of these clues might be, situational. They might be cryptic to their name. Could be, some random thing they did once upon a time. But we'll break through. All right. First clue, first player. Stand in. Stand in. Second clue. Second clue. Shares thoughts with refs. Shares thoughts with refs.
Would have to be Anthony Kopcikas.
It would have to be the Crackem King himself, Anthony Kopcikas. It is indeed. It is indeed. Didn't even need the third one. All right, look at you go. Okay.
Hey, where did the standing come from? Am I?
No, you're definitely allowed to ask.
Yeah.
He was Smack's stand-in at the NBL Awards.
Of course he was. Yes.
All right. Player number 2. You're off to a cracking start, mate. You got this. First clue, Hobart. Second clue,
Smack, right?
Boom. Didn't even need Foot Locker gift cards. Didn't even need it.
Hey, me and Smack had a conversation about that tonight. He's got a whole swag of them things. I was like, hey, you don't forget the little guys over here who are, I need some shoes. My kid needs some shoes. Like, come on, Smack.
Yeah, right. Happy to take some. I mean, he's got enough, but hey, well earned as well. Okay, 2 from 2. Player 3. Didn't score a point last year in NBL1 North. Player 3.
Cooper Rawlings.
Ooh, nice try, but not the player we're quite aiming for. Hasn't missed from the 3-throw line in the finals. Clue number 2. That one. So didn't score a point last year in NBL1 North. Hasn't missed from the free throw line in the finals. And last clue, had a game this season where he went 7 from 8.
Oh, is he Twitter?
3. Is he
Twitter? No, he was out all of last year, of course. Yeah, the ACL. So.
Yep. And obviously a couple of boys, coming over from either didn't play or coming from different conferences. But mate, 3 from 3. Like nothing to worry about.
Thank God. Thank God, I know my team.
Mate, congratulations on a season. And of course, best of luck for what's hopefully going to be a couple of games at least, if not 3 games of really great basketball to watch.
No, thanks, Mel. And look, personally, like, thank you for your support over the year. I know all the work you do behind the scenes in covering the league and promoting the league and calling games. Like, mate, definitely appreciate what you do. And I think like this conference is the best conference in the country. Like, we've got a great product up here in the north, and people forget about us up here sometimes. But this league is really, really good, and appreciate all the work that you do to help make it visible.
Not a problem, mate. You do the hard work. I just talk about it. That's all I do. But thank you. And, of course, best of luck over the weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, he's here. It's the other side of the coin. A man who's done everything across basketball, and that the coach, so many jobs in Mackay. Joel Kahlu, welcome, mate.
Evening, Mel. Thanks for that introduction.
Mate, let's get some congratulations out of the way. Returning to the Illawarra Hawks, winning coach of the year, NBL1 North. Of course, the amazing season and making the grand final on a 16-2 season thus far. And, of course, racking up 100 wins in Mackay with last week. I think I've got all the congratulations in there. Did I miss anything? Or
No, it's been a pretty good year so far.
So far is the crazy bit, but mate, I always ask people the first time we've got them on the show, where did your basketball journey begin?
Yeah, so I'm a Cairns local, so born and bred up there in far north Queensland. Was a late comer to the sport. I didn't start playing until under 14s actually. So under 14 club basketball at Cairns Basketball up there was where the first time I got a ball in my hands, and just kind of progressed through the junior representative program up there, under 16s, under 18s, 20s, 23s, but was able to join the Marlins. Back then, 1998, it was called the Continental Basketball Association, the CBA North Conference. So, was able to join the Marlins as a 17-year-old in 98. And that was probably the start of now my CBA, ABA, QABL, QBL, NBL1 career. Sorry, that's kind of gone now over 20 plus years. So all stemmed out of the fish tank up there in Cairns.
Very nice. Now, I have to let's jump into this season with Mackay. I have to ask. You seem to have a gaggle of assistant coaches. Do they all have a role, or did you just show up and everyone brought a +1? What was?
No, look, it's a bit of a running joke, I think, around the league when everyone sees our bench and the number of guys we've got. But no, look, each one of those guys brings something that I want to bring differently to the team. One of the things this year, particularly, whether it or not it's going to be my last year in Mackay, but one thing I wanted to do was kind of help mentor and pass on as much knowledge as I could to a lot of our local coaches, and help kind of prepare them, for what NBL1 life coaching is about. So 4 out of our 5 are all local guys that have been involved in the program at some stage before. So that was great. And then, this year, Nathan Arusi in the preseason, we had a bit of a conversation. Obviously, he's a long-time coach at USC Rip City. We spent some time together with the Queensland under-20 team, last year, and did a national championship. So developed a bit of a friendship through that tour. And then, with Rip being out, we kind of had to chat around, look, what's he's interested in doing this year, and where he could best impact a program. And once we started talking about that, it was a bit of a no-brainer around him being able to commit and do the stuff. And we've been really lucky in terms of having him join the staff this year. But there is certainly a number of guys on there that help make my life easier. That's for sure.
All righty. Now, obviously, we'll get to the main 2 guys who are in the MVP hunt, but your depth this season in Mackay is, from the outside looking in, it just seems sometimes you just got a guy for every situation. It's been pretty special to watch.
Look, and it goes back, Mel, to the preseason. Off season in terms of our recruitment. One thing, and I sound like a broken record, but what we identified coming out of 2023 was probably a lack of depth in terms of just having guys, be able to step up and play at this level at a high, consistent level, particularly because the league has gotten so good. So, with our off-season recruiting, obviously, the marquee guys were always high priority. Isaac, Toddy, Jerron Jameson. Getting a point guard was really important. And when I say point guard, a floor general, a leader, a pass-first guy, which Emmett Nahr is, unbelievable at. And then we got lucky with a few other guys. Aiden Krause coming back home, as a Mackay local kid. He wanted to return back home and play a season, so that kind of landed in the lap. Luca Yates, I was lucky enough to coach in the Queensland under-20 team, and then also with the Illawarra Hawks. So we've had a relationship for a long time, and we thought that in terms of his development, we could really provide a good platform for him to go out and showcase. And the other thing too was then just making sure the local guys continue to evolve as well. And I think that's what we've seen this year with different guys step up on different games. And Marco Doyle's been a massive player this year. Kobe Sagar's shown some really good signs. Kai Meadows the last month has been phenomenal as well. Throw in there as well Manny Malou coming back to Mackay after, going away for a couple of years. And, his decision was around kind of coming back to play for me and being involved in a program he thought best suited where he's at in his career. So, look, it was probably the first off-season ever where all the pieces to the recruitment puzzle fit, and the targets we wanted, we got. And here we are at a grand final series probably 9 or 10 months later.
Well, obviously your record speaks volumes, and we're talking now in grand final week, but obviously the power duo that made it in the top 5 in the MVP voting, obviously the growth of Isaac White and the addition and return to Mackay of Toddy Blanchfield. Even though you've had that deep roster, they've been some real key standouts and played amazingly this season.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you look at what both of those guys have been able to do at a consistent level this year, that's why we have such a good record. They've been able to close out multiple games. And when you've got two weapons like that, offensively particularly, it just makes it really hard for teams to defend us. But look, they'll be the first to say, and same as I, like what they've been able to do is kind of also feed off the other guys. Like if we didn't have Emmett as a pass-first PG, then, Whitey and Toddy probably don't get as many looks. If we didn't have Krause, who, just is relentless at attacking the paint and, getting downhill, again, that then opens up the floor for those guys to make plays. And, again, with the other, just the role players we've got, everyone's kind of bought into what we want to do this year, particularly offensively. But the other area where I've seen massive growth with Isaac is at the defensive end. Like he wants to guard, the better guys each night. Toddy is just an unbelievable, versatile defender, and his ability to guard, 2, 3, 4, 5, like all those different positions on the floor. And he's our best communicator. So, and you throw in their ability, their leadership as well. I feel like we've kind of hit the mark in terms of what we wanted out of our two marquee guys this year.
For sure. All right. I just came from a training session, obviously. What's the vibe like? I'm pretty sure it's pretty hectic around town, but what's the vibe like around the team?
Yeah, look, it's really business-like. Look, we've got some guys, obviously there's excitement within the building and the club around being here, but one thing I've kind of tried to say to the guys is just don't be happy with getting there. And we're lucky, right? We've got a number of guys that have been to grand finals and won championships at this level, so understand what a 3-game series looks like, not getting caught up in the hype of it all. So practice tonight was sharp. We just wanted to get through a bit of the cap stuff and what they do, some of the stuff that we're going to focus on obviously this weekend and get some shots up. So everyone's healthy, everyone's looking good, and let the game begin tomorrow night.
Awesome. Obviously, without giving too much away, where do you see the real strengths of this Capitals team that's coming to Mackay?
Yeah, look, I mean, Vandy's got him playing great basketball right now. When I, scouting the last few games and watching them, particularly against Darwin last weekend and Rocky in the quarterfinal the weekend before, their execution around their offensive sets and just being methodical and taking the right shot and moving the ball and, playing at a pace that they want to play at. That's where I think they're really good. I mean, Izzy Tuetta's shown, as a point guard in this league for a long time and even in the NBL. He's a, when we talk about Emmett as a floor general, that's what Izzy is for them. Just make sure that, the pace is what they want it to be. Obviously, Sam McDaniel's had an unbelievable season, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, for a first time in the NBL1 North. I think he's been terrific. Gabe Hadley, the last few weeks, has shown his ability of why, he's been a fringe NBL guy now. But it's also their role players who I think, throw Matty Johns. I think Matty Johns is another one too. When you talk about talent, NBL talent, Matty's shown that ability at that level too. But the guys that, the unsung heroes, they're the ones that I, get excited about, like in terms of, when you look at, Papakostas, a chance to coach GPAP with the 20s. He's a phenomenal person. And, he does his job to a T. Cameron Thu was doing his job, perfectly in a role. And then when guys like Timmy Sung and, Anthony Kopcikas, they come off the bench. And again, it's credit to Vandy in the way he's built the roster and got guys to buy into what he wants. I think it's very similar to the way that, our culture is here. And, to have the two teams in the final is pretty cool. Especially, I've got a great relationship with Vandy. Like, he played here, I coached him. We go back, 12, 13 years in terms of basketball. So it's going to be fun seeing him down the other end of the sideline.
Well, I did ask Vandy this, and he was a little bit mum, but is there any side bets or anything like that going on? Obviously, no money or anything, but anything silly behind the scenes or just business as?
Nah, look, it's one of those ones where we've got a good relationship where we don't want to give. Either of us don't want to give the other bragging rights for the next however long it's going to be, right? So I know we haven't spoken about it, but I know he's as competitive as I am around this stuff and wanting to win a championship and his desire to do that. So it's a bit unspoken at the moment, but we've been in touch a bit this week just around logistics and, from our end, making sure that everything's taken care of so they can, have the best possible crack at winning a championship. And so when the balls roll out, we'll give each other a hug and then we'll be into it.
All right. Now, another quick question before we get into who's that teammate. Are you going to give the people of Mackay what they really want to see? And, of course, that's some Brad Rasmussen minutes this weekend.
Everyone loves Rassie. It's funny. I was talking to someone at Illawarra Hawks training the other day, and they asked me about Rassie and how long he's been around for and that, and so this will be Rassie's 8th grand final series that he's going into. Obviously he's a 4-time champion, so so he's a super competitor. And what's been great is, and this just comes back to the character. Like, Rassie hasn't played much this year. He kind of knew going in that this was a year where we had a heavy front court depth and he was going to get spot minutes here and there. But in that last game of the regular season against the Southern Districts, he came out and I thought did a terrific job on Tyrell for a 4 or 5 minute purple patch. And that's what Rassie's still got the ability to do. So, he's ready in case we need him, break glass in case of emergency and bring Rassie on the floor. But I think we'll see him on court at some stage this weekend out there with the Mackay faithful going crazy cheering him on.
Oh, I'm sure they will lose their minds. All right, mate, it's time for Who's That Teammate. I'll give 3 clues. Each clue you get it, 1 guess, 3 clues max.
You put me on the spot now.
Oh, yes, and like I said, no pressure, but Vandy got 3 from 3. So, yeah, I know. But
there too, huh?
But they're all current players on your roster this season. So first clue is always a bit tricky. Then they slightly get easier. We'll see how you go. 3 guesses per one. Here we go. First player. First clue. They might be cryptic clues, all sorts of things around the player. I know. But here we go. First clue, return. Returner is your first clue for the first player.
Oh, man, there's so many returning guys.
Yep. I can jump into the next clue if you like.
So do I get a guess on each one, or do I just
You can if you wish, or we can keep rolling. You can get two clues and then go.
Yeah, give me another clue.
All right. Irish. Trust me, it'll all make sense at the end.
Yeah, I need the third.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissor, no more. Third clue. Rock, paper, scissor, no more. According to Isaac White, anyway. All right, we had returner. We had Irish, and we had rock, paper, scissor, no more.
Man, I'm stumped. You got me. I'm just going to say returner, rock, paper, scissors, Irish. I don't know who the heck is Irish on our roster. What the heck is rock, paper, scissors, no more?
It'll all make sense, trust me.
TJ Moran.
No. So Jerron Jameson. Jameson, of course, he's not Irish, but yep. Return, of course, he's coming back from some time with the Salties. And rock, paper, scissor. Him and Isaac White for a time were doing rock, paper, scissor.
Technical foul.
Yep. And then he missed one. So then no more. It was then between Isaac and Blanchy.
Man, that's tough. That was
tough. Yeah.
I absolutely blew it, but okay. Well done.
All right, next one up. Here we go. Second player, first clue. Here we go. Teme is your first clue.
Next.
Second clue, 22 Hawks. 22 Hawks.
What number was Emmett? Third clue.
Third clue, averages more assists than points this season.
Emmett
Averaged. Emmett Nar it is. Teme is Emmett backwards. 22 Hawks in 2022. He played for the Ringwood Hawks. And, of course, he averaged more assists than points this season.
Yeah, I just needed that third one. The other two, you still had me stumped.
Okay. Here we go. Last one. Final three is your first clue. Final three. Second clue. Only man to win 3 in one weekend, Australia-wide.
Isaac White, Anzac medal, final 3 MVP. Yep. What's the third clue?
Third clue was going to be Stanford.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. At least you made it a little bit easier for that one. that was.
Look, we tried, mate. 2 out of 3. You're well ahead of the curve percentage-wise. That's certainly nowhere near the lowest.
All that matters is that I lost to Vandy Mal, so now I'm already starting, behind the 8 ball.
Well, yeah, but it's this is a little thing. This isn't the real prize.
I hope so.
Vandy won't see it that way, but this is just a little thing.
Yeah.
Mate, thank you very much for your time. It's been widely appreciated. Best of luck. It's been an amazing season that Mackay's put together. It's been great fun to watch down here in Bris. And look, all 3 games this weekend. Fingers crossed we get all 3. I'm a sucker for OT of basketball, like free basketball, gimme. So love to see all 3, but if it's 2, it's 2. And best of luck either way to you and, of course, the Mackay Meteors. And are there any tickets left, or is this thing sold?
Yeah, look, we sold out. I think tickets went on sale at 4:30 on Tuesday or something, and by 5 o'clock or 5:15, we had 800 something down. So it's going to be probably our biggest. I mean, we had a chockers for the semi-final against Spartans, 1,200. It was our biggest crowd we've ever had. We're actually configuring the stadium outside right now to try and get more people in. So obviously, yeah, lots of excitement here in Mackay, and it's going to be full house to, hopefully cheer us on.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time, mate. Muchly appreciated, especially considering how important the week is.
No, all good, Mel. Thanks for having me, mate. Appreciate it.
Huge thank you once again, of course, to both Greg Vanderjagt and, of course, Joel Kahlu for giving their time this week. Hugely important week, and a big thank you to them both for jumping here on Ball Don't Lie. But look, I think realistically both teams have, summed each other up fairly well in their comments with what they shared on the pod. It's going to be interesting. Both teams have pieces. Mackay obviously very deep. Caps can't be just easily put aside in predictions and things. It's going to be a very interesting series. Hopefully it goes the distance. Obviously I've got my allegiances to Capitals, call their home games, but look, if I'm going with my heart, I'm going to say Caps in 3. If I'm going my head, I might be swayed into a different way, but look, this Mackay team, they've been great right from the jump. They've had a great season. They're big two, and then they're built deep, like we spoke to Joel about. Caps have got good pieces that are really firing well at the right time of the season. We've got two teams firing on all cylinders. They're coming into the grand final. It's going to be spicy. I'm going to stick with my heart and go Caps. But look, these are grand final series. You're going in, you're on the road. Mackay is going to fill that place with majority of people who are not going to be Capitals welcome. They're going to make it tricky, as they should, for a road victory. Road grand final. Because obviously they're looking to help their team. It's their team. They've been following all year. They've had a great season, and they want them to keep rolling. It's always tricky when you travel to a regional place like this. You're going to have very limited support, hostile environment on the biggest stage of the year. So, look, like I said, going to stick with the heart. Obviously, others would go the other way. If it goes the other way, it goes the other way. That's how basketball breaks. But yeah. It's just what I'm feeling. Gonna go the old homer pick, and is what it is. But we'll put up the tips and things, of course, in our stories over the weekend. You put up there. We'll see what the people vote with, who they vote for in each game. We'll put it up each day, every time there's a game. And hey, like I said to Joel, let's hope for 3 games. 3 games is free basketball. It's grand final overtime in a series like this, so should be fantastic. All right, we have one more person to speak to, of course, and that's Ant Kopcikas. He's going to jump on and come and just flex his Crackem skills. Not just the captain of the Caps, but the Crackem King himself is up next. All right, ladies and gentlemen, he's back. The Crackem King, the Capitals captain. And in a week, possibly, champion again. We'll have to see, mate, but exactly right. Huge congratulations, of course, to you and the team on making the GF. But must have been a good feeling, of course, beating Darwin.
Yeah,
no,
it went really well. So it was a great game. They're a great team, and we just executed our game plan to exactly kind of how we wanted to do it. So, and shot the ball really well and came out of there with a win. Really hard place to get a win, but the crowd quietened and we could get on with our business. So, yeah, it was good. It was good winning up there. That's my first win up in Darwin. So
Nice. All right, now look, obviously, you're the Crackem king. You're going to take on O tonight because we couldn't find anyone worthy. I mean, you're undefeated at this thing. Like there's no one that's beaten you at this practically ever. So, look, let's get after it. We've got local card shop of Woolloongabba Crackem. We've got some tops NBL cards. I almost said NBL1 cards there for a second.
that'd be nice.
NBL. Oh, wouldn't it be? We'll get there, mate. We'll get there.
Yeah, one day.
2023, 2024, the new stuff. Let's crack in. For those of you who haven't played local card shop of Woolloongabba Crackem before, I read the back of the card, which, of course, cards are normally not known for being guess who's type situations, giving clues. So sometimes it's a little bit easy, sometimes it's a little bit tricky. Obviously, when I ever get to the name, I just say somebody. But, mate, are you ready for some local card shop of Woolloongabba Grand Final Edition?
Oh, I'm ready as I can be now.
All right, let's do it. First card. Somebody opened his 6th NBL season with a flourish on September 29, 2023, piling up 21 points, 5 rebounds and 5 assists in a road test against Perth. He was one of the league's top 3-point archers the previous season, knocking down 40.1% of his long-range attempts. Somebody also is a forceful rebounder for his position and has an eye for the slick pass. From the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers.
From their 6th season. So I'm going to guess that's the boomer himself, Jack McVeigh.
Jack McVeigh, yes, indeedy. There it is.
Oh,
nice little blue, nice little blue number. Jack
Mate,
McVeigh.
that card is starting to be worth more and more money at the moment. If you can just keep shooting the absolute air out of the ball.
Well, look, let's go off to Houston. So we'll see how that all pans out. All right, card number 2 for the local card shop of Woolloongabba Crackem. Somebody came straight from the US college ranks to the NBL, where he immediately joined the front court rotation at Cairns. In his debut on September 29, 2023, the 21-year-old Kiwi played 29 minutes, logging 17 points
and
4 rebounds. Sam Menenga it is, the centre himself, the rookie card.
Oh, very nice.
He's off to the races here. He is indeed.
Yeah.
He is indeed. Oh, okay. Card number 3. Somebody who logged his 200th career game during the NBL 23 season, serves as the Adelaide captain and veteran leader. He's a fearless perimeter shooter who nails step-back 3-pointers.
Mr. Jason Kadee.
I thought you were... No.
That's a fearless
rare
3-point
miss.
shooter.
All right.
Is that Macca then?
It is Macca.
The 3-point shooting threw me through a loop. I mean, no offense to Macca, but it's certainly not something that he's
of course
known
not.
for. It's
teleporting the ball from his hands to others whilst looking in other directions. Yeah,
playmaking wizard. I would expect.
Oh, totally. All right. Card number 4. For the local card shop of Woolloongabba Crackem. After experiencing the NBL for the first time in 2022/2023, somebody praised the circuit's addictive qualities. You don't want to play in any other league once you play in this league, he says. And you really understand that feeling once you finally play in it. Not surprisingly, somebody came back for a second season in NBL 24, this time with Tasmania.
Oh, Marcus Lee.
2023 with United. Marcus Lee, it is indeed. All right. Card number 5. Here we go, mate. Somebody joined the Bullets for NBL 24 after stints with Illawarra and Tasmania, where he primarily contributed off the bench on both ends of the floor. Somebody has shown he is an impact player. Isaac White, it is. There he is.
Should have got that a bit quicker.
Opponent over the weekend.
He's on the scout today. Looking at his
Wow, look, at least you got him. It would have been awkward if you didn't. Okay. All right, final card, mate. Final card. Since making his NBL debut as an 18-year-old in the 2010-2011 season, somebody has been one of the league's true superstars. He's garnered all NBA plaudits 4 times and won the Fans MVP in 2018. 1 year later, he became the first ever signing in Southeast Melbourne history.
Oh, so
he now serves
friend of the show, Mitch Creek.
Friend of the show, Mitch Creek, and in fact, I think we've got a new pack high for our friends of the show.
Yeah.
In cards that we've cracked, there's 3 in that one with obviously Mackay, Isaac White, and Mitch Creek. So
hopefully more friends to come.
We're on fire. Oh, get rid of that hopefully business. Get rid of that hopefully business. Oh, all right, mate. Mate, on fire. I'm going against O obviously tonight, but it's obvious you're across it.
I mean, a little whiff on the McCarran one, but
I mean, if I'm honest, it is in a slightly different pile, but that's just me being honest. But that's high expectations. But mate, best of luck, of course, to you and the Caps as you hit the road. It's tricky place to win.
It is, yeah. So we'll be going in as I think slight underdogs maybe, and then hopefully we can get it done. We've definitely got the troops to do it, but they're a tough outfit on it. Yeah, I know from experience playing a grand final series up there, it's really tough to win. So
it is. Their fans definitely turn up. But best of luck, of course, to you and all the team. Be tuning in from Brizzy here, cheering everyone on, and hopefully, I can't imagine it's not going to be a good series, even if you guys don't get up. I just thinking it's going to be a great series either way.
Yeah, we'll make it exciting for you, Mel.
That would be great. Thanks. All right. If that's going to wrap us up, if you're on the socials, give us those likes, shares, follows, all that kind of stuff. If you're on a streaming service that allows 5-star reviews, please do go and do that. That stuff really does help. But until you're listening / watching us again, just remember that ball don't lie.
It never does.